Hello, dear students. Up till now, in chapter 5, Laws of Motion, you have studied about the concept of force, inertia, Newton's first law of motion, momentum, and Newton's second law of motion. Now, let us move ahead. In today's class, we will be discussing some new topics. Topics covered are impulse momentum theorem, measurement of impulse by graphical method, importance of impulse in our daily life, and its related numericals. First of all, let us define what is meant by the term impulse. We sometimes encounter examples where a large force acts for a very short duration and it produces a finite change in momentum of the body. For example, when a ball hits a wall and bounces back, the force on the ball by the wall acts for a very short time when the two are in contact, yet the force is large enough to reverse the momentum on the ball. In these situations, it is difficult to ascertain the force and time duration separately. However, the product of force and time, which is the change in momentum, it is a measurable quantity, and this quantity is known as impulse. So what is impulse? Impulse is equal to product of force and time duration for which the force acts. It is also equal to change in momentum as per Newton's second law of motion. Impulse is denoted by the letter J. So J vector, as it is a vector quantity, it is directed along the direction of the applied force. So J vector is equal to F vector multiplied by the time t. This large force, which acts for a short time to produce a finite change in the momentum, it is called impulsive force. Impulsive force is just like any other force, except that it is large and acts for a short time. Now, what is the dimensions of impulse? It can be calculated from the formula. Its formula is force multiplied by time. So J is equal to F multiplied by time. Now dimensional formula for the force is M1 L1 T minus 2, and for the time it is T. So on simplifying, it becomes equal to M1 then L1 T minus 1. This is the dimensional formula for the impulse. So what about the SI unit? As it is given by the product of force and the time, so SI unit of impulse is Newton second or kilogram meter per second, and CGS unit of impulse is gram centimeter per second. It is a vector quantity and its direction is same as that of force. Now come to the second topic, impulse momentum theorem. First of all, let us give its statement. Impulse of a force on a body is equal to the change in its momentum. J vector is equal to F vector multiplied by the time dt. It is equal to dp vector by dt multiplied by dt. So dt will get cancelled and it is equal to change in momentum. It means impulse is equal to the total change in momentum produced by the force. This relationship between impulse and momentum is known as impulse momentum theorem. So let us prove this. According to Newton's second law of motion, applied force is equal to rate of change of momentum. So F vector is equal to dp vector by dt, or F dt is equal to dp vector. If in time 0 to t, the momentum of the body changes from p1 vector to p2 vector, then integrating the above equation within these limits, we get f dt integrated from 0 to t and dp vector integrated from p1 to p2. So what we get after integration, it is equal to p2 vector minus p1 vector. But integration of f vector and dt from 0 to t, it is termed as impulse. So what we get finally, j vector is equal to p2 vector minus p1 vector. Thus, the impulse of a force is equal to the total change in momentum produced by the force. This is known as impulse momentum theorem. Now, measurement of impulse by the graphical method, that is force time graph. First of all, we shall be drawing the graph between force and time when a constant force acts on a body, taking time along the x-axis and force along the y-axis. As you can see by the red line, which is representing the constant force acting on a body. Now, what is the area of this rectangle? Let us mark its vertices by A, B, C, D. So, area of the rectangle A, B, C, D, it is equal to AD multiplied by AB. Now, AD is equal to F and AB is equal to time T. So, what we get, F into T, this is equal to J, that is impulse in magnitude, right? It means area under the force time graph represents the impulse of the force. Now, what happens when a variable force acts on the body? Let us take the second case also, when a variable force acts on the body. Again, taking time along the x-axis, and the force which varies with time is taken along the y-axis. We consider a very small time interval dt. Now, impulse acting during this time interval dj is equal to F multiplied by dt. What about the total impulse of the force? So we have to integrate it within the limits. Let us take the limits from 0 to t. So it is F dt, and again this is equal to area under force time curve. Thus, the area under the force time graph gives the magnitude of the impulse of the given force in the given time interval. So finally, what we conclude from the graphical treatment? Impulse is always equal to area under the force time graph. Based on this conclusion, there are some questions which can be asked in the exam. You can be given the graph between force and time, and you can be asked to calculate impulse by using this information, that is area under the force time curve represents the impulse of the force can be calculated. Now, what is the importance of impulse in practice in our daily life? There are various situations we come across where impulse plays an important role. Let us discuss a very common example, that is during high jumping or long jumping. A high jumping or long jumping athlete is provided either a cushion or a heap of sand on the ground to fall upon. Now, what is the role of this cushion? The cushion or sand helps to increase the time in which the momentum comes to zero. This decreases the rate of change of momentum and hence the force. So, the athlete does not get hurt because as per Newton's second law, change in momentum is equal to what? Force into time, and it is equal to further impulse. So if you increase the time of impact, then the force exerted will be small. So let us take second example, packing materials like thermocol, corrugated sheets, bubbled plastic sheet, straw, paper strands, etc. are used while packing glassware, chinaware, electronic devices, etc. These materials help to increase the time in which the momentum comes to zero when jolting and jerking takes place. This decreases the rate of change of momentum and hence the force. So, the articles do not get broken. Similarly, the shock absorbers work. Shock absorbers are provided in vehicles to allow more time during the bumps and jerks. When a vehicle moves on an uneven road, it receives a jerk. The shockers increases the time of jerk and hence reduces the force. This makes journey comfortable and saves the automobile from damage due to bumps. Fourth example, a seasoned cricketer player stops the ball by drawing his hands along the direction of the motion of the ball, thus by allowing more time and to apply less force. This is mostly asked in the exam. Why does a cricket player lower his hand while catching a ball? So the answer lies here in this part. You see what is happening? The cricketer is lowering his hand while catching the ball. A fast moving cricket ball has a large momentum. In stopping the cricket ball, its momentum has to be reduced to zero. When a player moves his hands back, the time taken to stop the ball increases and hence the rate of change of momentum decreases. That is, the force exerted by the ball on the hands decreases. So, the hands of the player do not get hurt. Now, fifth example, buffers are provided between the bogies of a train. Buffers increases the time of jerk during shunting. This decreases the force of impact between the bogies. The bogies are thus prevented from receiving severe jerks. Now, let us do some numericals based on the concept of impulse. I am taking NCERT solved example 5.4. A batsman hits back a ball straight in the direction of the bowler without changing its initial speed of 12 meters per second. If the mass of the ball is 0.15 kg, determine the impulse imparted to the ball. Assume linear motion of the ball. Let us draw a simple diagram. A ball moving towards the bat, and the batsman hits the ball and the direction of the motion of the ball gets reversed. The motion is linear, so there is only the change of direction, right? Now, what is given here in the question? Mass of the ball. It is given to be 0.15 kg. And initial velocity u, it is equal to 12 meters per second. Final velocity v, it will be taken with the negative sign because the direction of motion of the ball changes. Now, as per formula, impulse imparted is equal to change in momentum of the body. So, impulse J is equal to m, change in momentum v minus u. Now, what is the mass of the body? It is given to be 0.15 kg. Velocity v is equal to minus 12 and u is equal to simply 12. So, on solving it, this comes out to be with negative sign minus 3.6 and SI unit is Newton. Its SI unit is Newton second. So minus 3.6 Newton second is the final answer. Negative sign indicates that the direction of the impulse is from the batsman to the bowler. Let us do one more numerical. It is from your NCERT exercise, chapter 5, question number 14. It is graphical based question. Figure here shows the position time graph of a particle of mass 4 kg. What is the A part? Force on the particle for t less than 0. For t, that is time, from 0 to 4 seconds. And B part, you have to calculate impulse at time t equals to 0 and at time t equals to 4 seconds. Consider one-dimensional motion only. Right? So graph, it is given to you. Time taken along the x-axis, distance taken along the y-axis. Now here there is one more information which will be used here. It is the graphical importance of distance time graph. First of all, let us see what is being asked in the first question. Force on the particle for t less than 0. Right? For time less than 0. So, when time is less than 0, you can see this part is horizontal for t less than 0. Less than 0, time 0 is the here. So, as this part is horizontal, thus it can be concluded that distance covered by the particle is 0 and hence force on the particle is also 0. Let us take now second part, that is for the time between 0 to 4 seconds. Now this is 4 seconds. As you can see, the graph is having a constant slope. So we know the slope of xt graph represents the velocity. So here the velocity of the particle is constant. It can be calculated by considering the slope of this part of the graph. Now slope is given by change in y coordinate over change in x coordinate. Now y coordinate is 3 and x coordinate is 4. The slope, that is constant velocity, is equal to 3 by 4. So it is 0.75 meters per second. Hence, the force on the particle will be 0 because the velocity is constant. If the velocity is constant, there is no acceleration. As per Newton's second law, F is equal to m into A 0. So force is also 0 for the time between 0 to 4 seconds. Now let us take the third part for time greater than 4 seconds. As this portion shows, the particle always remains at a distance of 3 meters from the origin. You can see here x here is constant. It is equal how much? 3 meters from the origin. There is no change of distance. Therefore, the particle is at rest. Hence, force on the particle is again 0. Right? For t less than 0, F is equal to 0. For t greater than 4 seconds, t equals to 0. For t between 0 to 4 seconds, the force is again 0. Now let's come to the second part of the question. That is, we have to find the impulse at t equals to 0 and at t equals to 4. Now impulse at t equals to 0. Now before t equals to 0, you note down the particle is at rest. Before t equals to 0 means along this part. So u equals to 0. After t equals to 0, the particle is having constant velocity. As you can see, this by the constant slope. So velocity is what? 3/4 meters per second. Right. So u is given to you, that is 0. V is known to you, 0.75 meters per second. And mass of the particle is how much? It is 4 kg. So using the concept of impulse momentum theorem, that is impulse is equal to what? Total change in momentum of the body. So what we get? I is equal to mv minus mu. What is v here? It is 0.75 and u equals to 0. So 0.75 minus 0 will give you 0.75. When multiplied by 4, this gives you 3 kilogram meter per second, or simply Newton per second. Come to the second part of the same question, that is impulse to be calculated at t equals to 4 seconds. Again, let us take what is the velocity before t equals to 4. Before t equals to 4 means this part. So here the velocity is 0.75 meters per second. After t equals to 4, the particle is at rest. So v equals to 0. So u equals to 0.75, v equals to 0, and impulse is equal to mv minus u. So mv is 0, u is 0.75. This comes out to be minus 3 kilogram meters per second. So let us now recapitulate what we have studied today. Right? Now the first concept which we have studied, it is regarding the impulse. So what is impulse? Impulse J is given by the force multiplied by the time, and it is further equal to change in the momentum mv minus u. Also from the graphical treatment we get J vector is equal to integration from 0 to t, it is equal to f dt, and it is equal to what? Area under the force time graph. Now next come to the SI unit of impulse. It is what? Newton second, or it is also written as kilogram meter per second. So this is all about today. I think all the topics are clear to you. Thank you very much.